What are Adam's 3 simple ideas to keep your kitchen clutter-free? Tara's creating storage out of thin air.
My challenge today is to put this space to work.
Australia's greatest garden designer shows Hodgie his masterpiece.
I'm so excited to be here.
And how cute are these? Dr. Harry meets the woman saving their lives.
The kitchen's the heart of almost every home, just like this one here, but sometimes things can be a little small and storage is at a minimum, so we have to get creative. Now today, I'm not going to be showing you how to cook a tasty dish. Instead, I'll be showing you 3 space-saving ideas that will hopefully make everyone's life that little bit easier. Starting with this problem here. The trays are stacked on top of each other and the one you want is right down the bottom. To get it out, what do you have to do? It's a nightmare. Hold this one up, pull this one out, everything falls everywhere in the cupboard. It's an absolute mess. But the good news is I have the perfect solution to fix this up. So the idea here is to get those baking trays and stand them on edge. That way, when you need something, it's easy just to slide it out. I've got this melamine here that I've cut up, and the first step is just to make a simple box. One thing you want to remember when you're working with this melamine is that you keep the factory edge all facing the same way. As you can see, on the back side, it doesn't have it. With the box together, the idea here is to get this marine ply and allow it to slide in and out of our box depending on what size your trays or pans are. I've got these melamine spacers set out. Now, I'm going to be gluing them down. You could screw them, but I want a nice, clean look. But you need to remember to use some sandpaper to scuff up the surface so the glue's got something to bond to. Hopefully it fits. Never in doubt. And for the ones that are too deep and don't fit in the spaces that I've allowed, we just pull one of the dividers out, we can slip that in, and the divider just goes next to the cabinet. Too neat, too easy. We just need to get the door back on. And here we have a set of double doors with a deep cupboard. What's the problem? Well, what I want is right at the back, so I've got to get down low and reach in. The solution is bringing everything to me, and a set of drawers will do just that. And for the drawer unit, I'm just cutting up some more melamine. Now, a good tip when you are cutting melamine is to put some tape on the top face because the circular saw blade is spinning that way and it wants to split the timber, and the tape will prevent that from happening. That's all the pieces for the drawer cut. Now we can assemble it. So this is going to be the face and these will be the sides. You can see that we end up with an unfinished edge here. So before I screw this together, I just need to put some melamine edging on. And to put the edging on, you just use an iron, but you want to make sure that you cover the strip with a thin cloth or some baking paper. That way the iron doesn't directly touch it. And for the heat of the iron, you want to have it on about the cotton setting so it's hot, but it's not too hot, and that way you won't melt your strip. That's one drawer done. Yeah, I just need to add some runners to it. Not those kind of runners. That's all done. It's time to put these in their new home. The drawers are made and the runners are on the drawers. Now I need to get the other end of the runners set up in this cabinet. But the problem is, I had to remember that we've got the thickness of the door when the door's open, plus the thickness of the hinge. So the way I've gotten around that is I've got this packing piece that I'm putting down here, and then this timber that I've ripped that will sit on top, so all the pressure and weight that's in that drawer will still go down to the bottom carcass, but the runner will be able to get past our hinge in our door and the drawer will open up. And I'll repeat that process for all the runners. How good's that? And the best part about it is it's push to open. Now, even though this is going to have doors on it, I want it to look nicer when you open it up. So a bit of plywood with some wax on it will do just the job. If that doesn't make life easier, I don't know what will. And now for the last problem, everyone can definitely relate to this. Under the sink, this is where you keep your cleaning products. Obviously, it gets cluttered. Sometimes it's hard to get to them. The simple fix, it's basically the same as this. I've made a little cabinet with the drawer in it. That way, if you ever need anything, you pull the drawer out and everything's at hand. Well, there you go. There's some space-saving ideas which will definitely make your time in the kitchen less stressful. You can try one or you can try all of them. Either way, they're projects that you can get done over a weekend.
In the design world, stairs, they present a bit of a challenge because it's always what do you do with the space underneath? You can see how the family who live here use theirs. It looks like a kid's dumping ground, a bit like a locker room, and it's pretty typical. So my challenge today is to put this space to work. Not just the floor space, but also the wall and this panel under the stairs as well. A bookcase or a cabinet that fits under that angle of the stairs could be quite tricky to build, so let's make things simple. What I want to do here is create a series of rectangular boxes. These just kind of cantilever underneath. I'm going to do 4 and tuck them way under the stairs. And I'm using just some pine. I've had it cut to size. I've had it pre-primed. The reason I'm using pine as opposed to MDF is it's nice and sturdy and it's not going to bow in the middle. Now, to speed things up, I'm using a nail gun. If you don't have one of these, you can, of course, use your cordless, but do make sure you use glue. More glue around this side.
When I looked into your eyes, everything that I was missing, you had it all this time. Suddenly I feel so weightless, like I can't feel my feet. With the touch you made.
See how we're looking. That's kind of how the box will actually look, but we need to fit it in neatly under the stairs. So for this end, instead of having it squared like this, we'll cut it at a slight angle. Now that's the tricky part. It's not that hard if you've got a tool like this. It's called a bevel, and all you need to do is take the angle of that little panel under the stairs and just translate that onto the piece of timber, and then you can just cut it off and it'll fit perfectly. Okay, let's have a look. Haha. Now you know what I was talking about. That's the angle. These shelves do have a fair bit of weight in them, so you want to make sure that you fix them in securely. So what I've done is I've located the studs in the wall just using a stud finder, and I've marked them with tape. Now, to act as a bit of a support while I work, I've got a couple of bits of timber there. They're kind of like legs which I can take away in aid of another set of hands, which clearly I don't have today.
Never ever say it's something you can't do. Cause I know if you believe that dreams come true. Everywhere since a chance to begin with a plan. I would never be a quitter. I'ma fight to the end. Come on.
So I've made 4 boxes exactly the same, and now I think you can see how it all starts to come together. Could go all the way, but I've decided to stop at about this point because I want to leave this area open. I've got another storage idea in mind. Happy with that. That's it for the build. Now it needs to be filled and painted. So for that, I'm using aqua enamel. Shoes dumped near the door, such a common problem, big and small. So, one neat solution is to stash everything away neatly and tidily in drawers. Drawers like this are a great thing because, obviously you use them in kitchens. They're flat packs, you build them yourselves. But I have used them under a window as a book nook and also in a bedroom under a bed as clothing and bedding storage. Now in our hallway under the stairs, I want to make these look like pieces of furniture. So instead of just having the white melamine on the outside, I've had some of this oak panelling cut to size. It's got a really beautiful grain. I love the colour, but I just want to dull it down a little bit. So what I'm using here is a stain varnish lime wash. So the easiest way to get it on is with a roller. And then you're working one surface at a time. You don't want to let it dry. So then once you've got that nice wet edge, take a brush and just very carefully and lightly just drag it in one direction. And you can see it creates these nice little lines, but the grain still shows through underneath. It's a really beautiful finish. The standard legs with these flat pack cabinets and drawers are these adjustable little black feet, which are fine when you're covering with a kickboard, but this is going to become a piece of furniture. So what we're doing is we're swapping them out for these very cool looking swivel caster wheels, polyurethane wheels, really great. The one thing to remember if you are putting wheels on furniture pieces is make sure you choose the lockable casters. I'm happy with that. I'm really pleased with this. A couple of simple builds have totally maximised the space under the stairs that, let's face it, was just going to waste before. So we've utilised every part of this area. We've got some really good looking functional storage. It's not cluttered, it has plenty of character. The mirror here on the wall, well, that bounces light around and it's a great thing to have in a hallway when you arrive home or when you leave to put your lippy on. And having these little seats down below, well, they double as storage, and being on those lockable caster wheels means that they're very functional and versatile. You can move them around to suit what you need. For something like this, it didn't take a lot of effort, but it's such a welcome part of this home. I think it's a great project. You can take any part of this and make it yours. Why not try it this weekend?
I spend most of my time on the show taking you around other people's gardens. But today I thought, why not have a look at my garden and what I'm doing this weekend? Might give you some tips on what to be doing. The magnolia is in fact an original tree. I didn't plant it. I planted the Cyananthus, but I didn't plant this fellow. Now, the thing with magnolias is that they do create a fair amount of shade, but underneath them, I'm growing tree begonias. The thing is, I've grown all of these from cuttings. You just take a little stem, pop it into a vase, develops roots, and a couple of weeks later, you can pop them out. All of these begonias I've grown from nothing. Now, a great plant, easy to grow, no insects, no diseases, and just look at it. You just set and forget it. It's called Meliantha, sometimes known as honeyflower, because the flowers are just jam-packed full of nectar. The bees and the birds just love them. Now, you may be surprised to know that all of this is only 3 years old. Yes, the lawn as well as this beautiful garden bed here. We had builders here for 2 years doing a reno on the house. It was a nightmare. I thought I'd never get it back. You'll notice that I've created a circular lawn. Why circular? Because there are no corners, you can actually put in more plants. What would be a corner is now full of perennials and roses and shrubs and colour. You might be wondering about this beautiful tree behind me, and it's called Ginkgo Winter Gold. And in winter, it turns the most amazing butter yellow colour. Now, I just wanted to show you these November lilies. Up the back there, where the stakes are, they're 2 clumps. These have been in the garden, honestly, for 10 years or more. They're really easy to grow. Tell you something, this is the list of easy to grow, easy care gardening. These are hellebores, Christmas rose, rock rose, but look at this double white. It could do with a little bit of a feed. Not too much, just a little bit, sprinkle around. Water it in, and that'll keep the growth coming after the flowers finish. Aqualegias, columbines, granny's bonnets, aren't they fantastic? And the new hybrids are so easy to grow. These we grew from really small plants. I also love this little combo of colours. They're all sort of complementary colours. They could be, in fact, in a half barrel on a veranda. If you've got a garden, great, but if you haven't, then have a look at this combination. These azaleas are beautiful old varieties. They're Karuma azaleas, Christmas chair and Kirin. Now, I've been watching how the Japanese do it for the last 40 years, and basically, it all gets down to pruning. And it's taking off this new growth that's just coming away after the flowers. Don't forget, another prune in January, but don't leave it any later than that. Right, well, I've got some more to do now. Now, if you've ordered your mail order catalogue dahlias and they've arrived, you must get them planted. I put these in a couple of weeks ago and look, they're already up, 20, 30 centimetres and growing like crazy. This particular variety is incredibly tall, over 2 metres. So I've got these really tall stakes and I've got these wire frames just with a couple of little nails holding onto there. So as the plant grows, and it will, it'll come up through the wire frame. Then I'll just plonk another one on the top and it'll gradually keep the whole thing in order, just like so. And it's also a good time to give them a feed as well, especially as they're starting to grow. You'll notice that I've been using a brand new product that's on the market called Sea Soul Plant and Soil Booster. And you just sprinkle it around and you can use it every 3 months of the year, even in the middle of winter, because it's basically building up all the beneficial soil bacteria in the soil. It's boosted with lots of seaweed, so you know it's good. And it's going to help the plant root system. A good soil means really strong, healthy plants. Now, if you've got a lemon or lime or any citrus at all and they're producing a lot of fruit and it's a young plant, this is my granddaughter's lemon and lime double cross, then you don't want all these fruit. In fact, all these flowers here are just going to draw too much energy. In fact, it might even only produce 1 or 2 fruit. So let's take a lot of these flowers off. Now, you've got to be a bit brutal, but if you don't take the excess flowers off, you won't get any fruit at all. Well, she'll get a bit of a shock when she comes back. When those fruits start to appear, though, she'll love it. Hope I've given you some ideas for this weekend. Just get out into the garden and enjoy it. And don't forget, get that feeding happening, get the watering happening, look after your garden. And most importantly, just get out there and relax.
I'm a little bit excited. I'm leaving the hustle and bustle of the city and we're heading to central Victoria to visit Paul Bangay and his beautiful garden, Stonefields. Now, Paul Bangay, who is he? He's just Australia's greatest modern landscape designer. He's kind of like my hero. From the beautiful drive-in, meandering through the paddocks, going through the gatekeeper's house, and then coming to this little courtyard, everything's designed to build on one emotion. Now, a better spoken person than me would say that this place is a neo-classical country-style farm. What does that really mean? Well, neo just means new, so it's a new take on old principles that have been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And when it comes to the garden, it's very symmetrical. It's on axes, so there's straight lines everywhere. And he's created different rooms. And what that means for Paul is that he can try different things in each of the rooms, creating different themes, whether it be the plant palette or the surfaces on the floor, whether there's water in it or there's not. That's great for Paul because his imagination can run wild. But the tough thing about it is trying to find him. Hello, mate. Hello, mate.
Hey, Jason.
How you going?
Good, how are you?
I'm so excited to be here.
It's your first time here.
First time, I've seen a million photos, I've dreamt about coming.
And you're at the perfect time of the year.
I know, everything's just jumping out of the ground.
Just starting, really just starting.
How good's the veggie garden?
Takes me back to my childhood.
Well, that's where we all started, isn't it?
It is. I had a beautiful vegetable garden when I was a child.
I grew
loved
tomatoes.
working in it. Well, I filled mine up with flowers. I had dahlias everywhere in it. My parents were like, well, what happened to the vegetables?
Now, this wall of green, it's pretty, but it's practical, isn't it?
It is. We're on a very windy site here. When we built the house and garden, when all the hedges were really low when I first moved in, and the wind roared across the whole place, and I thought, we've got to actually create it like a walled garden. So these hedges are a response to the wind, really. And now they're up and mature, they're just doing a great job.
So for a homeowner, they might not be screening off the winds, they might be screening off a neighbour.
But that's the other good thing about them, gives you privacy.
You still get plenty of light in here because you've got the space.
Yeah, that's the important thing.
Well, that's one of the rooms I can tick off my book of things to see, but I think there's about 20 more. Can we have a look around? Love to. So this is the main spine and entrance to the home and garden. What did you start with?
It was just a complete bare paddock. So nothing here. I think it might have been for potatoes, because it's a potato country, and we have excellent soil here. The first thing I did was drive down and put my car exactly where the house is, look down that valley and get the view, and thought this is the perfect spot to place the house. And then I worked backwards from there, and then I knew I had to create these sort of shallow terraces up the back, so they weren't too steep so you could see them from inside the house. So it all came to me quite quickly. It's instinctual, I think, with us designers, isn't it?
It is for you, that's for sure. Cute little hole there.
Yeah.
Was that always intentional, like the day you planted the hedge, I can't wait for this hole to appear?
Yeah. I mean, the idea there is it creates this sense of climax and anticipation, and that little window in the hedge was just to get a view of the house and lead you into the next garden.
Silly of me because I love it so much, not to mention how many buxus would you have in this property?
You know what? I've never actually... It would be in the tens of thousands.
Amazing.
I know.
So these spheres and squares are probably, to me, they're like beyond gardening. They're like architecture.
Well, it is like architecture. It's like sculpting and architecture. I wanted it to be a contemporary version of a parterre garden. So, you know, the typical parterre gardens are sort of Renaissance swirls and everything.
Yeah.
I wanted to have more geometry than that, so that's why it's the squares and the circles. And I wanted a little bit of change in it, so that's why I've got circles in one, squares in the other, and alternates. I mean, the problem is the garden's so big now, I can't afford to expand it, and I feel a bit frustrated that I can't create new spaces in it.
Well, it's on the market, ladies and gentlemen, so... Each room's very distinctive, but there's still water in most of them.
Yeah, I really believe in using water in the garden. And nearly all our projects we use water, but especially up here, in a hot, dry Australian climate, I think water's really important. Especially the rill through the main part of the garden. It sort of emotionally cools you as you walk around, physically, you know, a little bit of evaporation. And of course, you know, using this sort of lovely big reflection pond is perfect in this sort of contained space. So I think, I always try and use water.
I love it. I love everything about it. One of the nice design features of the landscaping, the hard construction, is the different surfaces that Paul's used. The main path that goes to the front door is those large format sandstone pavers. Now, if you did that everywhere, it'd be very costly and a tad boring. All the paths that branch off that get used every now and then are either fines, blue metal, or this, which is just a round river pebble. But this is a lovely contrast, and that crunch underfoot for centuries has been used as a security mechanism. In a quiet country setting like this, you can hear if someone's coming, either driving or walking around your property. But what I like is that these paths are maintenance-free and low cost. You might have to pick up a few deciduous leaves, but these guys complement the garden beds that are on both sides, and they never need pruning. Now, this place is amazing. I've just been blown away by everything. The hedges, the different surfaces on the ground, his sense of space and making it all relevant and all beautiful, just timeless. And that's why he's probably been the #1 influence in everything I've done professionally since the day I left school. I know I've mentioned Buxus already, and I'll mention it again before we finish up here at Stonefields, but I just want to show you 3 different ways to use it. Now, this is how we normally use it. Little hedges framing garden beds and our paths and driveways. The reason why it works so well is because you can get that perfect tight little leaf to make it look like a box. It's as formal as the paving that's leading us to the house. But what a contrast when you see it like this. They call this cloud planting. You can't get two more extremes. The brick wall's dead straight, clouds are informal and do whatever they like, but they look so good next to each other. But then you go to the next level. This down here doesn't even look like gardening, it looks like a maths equation. The square root of 12 bucks of squares goes into the round ones, and Pythagoras does the maths, and the answer is, it's bloody beautiful. Now this space contradicts those straight lines and axi. This is the Woodlands garden, and straight away you can see that there's a great big circle of lawn. One of the things I really like are these wisterias. Now, they're fast growing and vigorous, and they can get up over a pergola or a house in no time at all. But Paul's trained them down here. They're just about to burst to life with their flowers to sit on top of these stairs. I imagine when they're in full bloom, this would be absolutely spectacular. Paul, this garden room's a bit different to the rest.
It is, yeah. This, believe it or not, this used to be the vegetable garden. That's why it's in 4 beds like this.
Yeah.
And being a perfectionist, I couldn't bear walking down here, looking in and seeing a tomato missing, or, you know, a lettuce being picked, or something dying down. So I thought I'd banish the vegetable garden further down the hill where you don't see it so much and turn it into a rose garden.
Nice.
And it was a time when I'd just been to a run, and I saw the rose gardens there, and they're completely different to an English-style rose garden. And so it looks like a whole Persian rug when it's in flower in the spring. It's amazing.
Well, the roses aren't actually starring at the moment. It's the different colours and the light texture and height changes in the beds.
And that's what we try and get. We try and get as many succession layers of flowering as we can get. The tulips will die down, then the roses will come up, and then all the other perennials will come through in it. So it's all about getting as many layers throughout the seasons as you can get. This garden's very much about experimentation, so I'm always experimenting with different planting styles, and we might get things wrong sometimes.
So this is like the testing ground for what might go into next year's garden.
It is, and the whole garden's like that. You know, for me, like working all over the world, this is a great laboratory for me to try out plants in. And there are styles and there are fashions in gardening, there definitely is. They're very long cycles, but there are definitely. And the trend now is to something a lot more wild, or a lot more softer, a lot more casual, a lot more romantic.
Sounds good. Just with a few bucks of spores at the front of it.
We can add the bucks of spores.
This is a great example of you don't have to have a ton of money, you've just got to have the passion.
That's right.
It's a blue metal footpath,
Yeah.
a garden edge, and then it's the plants that are the massive star.
The plants, you're right, the plants are the star. I wanted woodland plants. I wanted to experiment and sort of collect woodland plants. I couldn't do that without shade.
Now these trees, you just named them.
Forsythias, yeah.
Forsythias. Have we just got them on like the day of the year when they look like that?
I think you've got the perfect timing,
Good to know. So mate, do you call this the backyard?
No, we call this the swimming pool garden for obvious reasons.
As much as what you've done is absolutely beautiful, competing with Mother Nature's fair old battle.
It's all about the view, and that's why I bought it, because of that view.
Well, mate, it has been an absolute pleasure.
Pleasure. Come back again.
You don't need to be asked twice. In fact, I don't normally get asked twice.
Spring is such an exciting time of year. After the dormancy of winter, everything is coming to life. I mean, look at the gardens, and our own wildlife population are breeding. There are little noses sticking out of pouches and beaks sticking out of nests all over the place. And that's why it's peak season for our wildlife carers. And one of those carers is Tilly Gray, part of the dedicated army of volunteers around the country devoted to our native wildlife. Hello.
Hi.
They told me you'd be out here. How are you,
Yes.
Tilly? Nice to see you.
I'm good. How are you?
What are you up to?
I'm weighing
You're
retail
weighing?
possums.
You're weighing.
Yeah.
Aren't you gorgeous? Look at this little face, right? It's
Yes,
the
I've got
faces that get me
this.
every time. We have just some of the most beautiful animals in this country of ours. You want to give me a nose on nose. You look at that. Look, I've got a funny looking nose, but you've got a beautiful nose.
So she came in because she had some string wrapped around her tail.
Oh, crumbs.
Yeah, I know. So but it's actually come back really good.
Yeah.
So
That hair's going to regrow, no problem
yeah,
at
I
all,
think
right?
it's a really good recovery.
Yeah, excellent.
And they come in for a variety of reasons. One, I think, was a car accident. And then the other one, Mum was found dead in the backyard. So probably a dog.
Dog attack, yeah.
And we look after them, we raise them, we put them into groups, and then they can go back out and be wild again.
So how long before you're capable of releasing these tackers back into the wild?
Probably another 3 months.
If you come across an injured Australian native animal, be it a bird, well, hello. Who was that?
Oh, the lorry.
That's what you call a fly path. There are more possums to meet inside, out of the flight path.
Well, I have 3 brush-tail possum babies in here. They love me so much that I need them to get used to only wanting to be around me when I'm wearing my special coat. If I have this on, all good, bit of interaction.
They're a bit bigger, aren't they? Okay, a fair bit bigger. And look at the tail. How did you get interested in all this stuff?
Well, I mean, I've always loved nature. I was very lucky. I grew up in a place where there was bush. I walked through bush to get to school. And then I became an adult, went and did other things and realised I couldn't. I just loved it too much. I loved them too much.
But loving animals isn't enough to be a carer. Tilly gets training and certification to look after animals in need from a wildlife rescue group. And these animals come in all shapes and sizes and at any time of the day. Till, this just arrived totally out of the blue, and I can hear a lot of squeaking going on inside there, so let's have a look.
All right.
Little native ducks, gorgeous.
Nice sweetie.
Little black feet. Yeah, not long hatched. They need a high-protein food, so what are you going to feed these guys?
Well, they get game bird starter.
Will we go and put them somewhere where they can be nice and happy?
Yes.
Give them a little
Sounds
drink.
good. We can watch them.
So we've got our food in there, we've got our water there, which is a very shallow container. These ducklings are so young, they haven't learned how to eat yet. So someone has to play mother duck and show them.
Hey, kiddos. Come on, look at Harry's beak.
Tilly can't say no to an animal in need. So the backyard is home to angry duck, a one-legged duck, and even visiting cockatoos.
What are you doing?
Cockatoo!
You're so cheeky, no. Priscilla, come here, baby.
Here we go.
Aha! How
last
gorgeous. Everybody loves a bluey.
They should do, because they're such good helpers in the garden.
He's a beautiful specimen, isn't he?
He came in actually in June, and we need to keep reptiles that come in over winter. So we keep them until spring when it gets warmer, and then we can re-release them again. He was flushed down a drain pipe.
You're so
And
strong.
if you want, you can actually come today and release him.
You're going to release him in the day?
Yeah,
Okay.
we can release him.
All right,
He's
well,
ready to go.
We're ready to go?
Yep. Do you want to
Put you
chuck him in
there?
here, and we'll take him to his original location. He's got to go back where he was from.
And that's so important. And I guess the other important thing to share with you is this. Australian native animals are not pets. For a start, if you're not allowed to keep them as pets, right? So if you run across an injured animal, what do? Well, always be a little bit prepared. Carry with you, if you can, a couple of big, thick towels. Be careful, because when you go to handle them, okay, they will struggle and you can get hurt. Cover it, wrap it up, get it inside something, and getting it to a wildlife carer or a veterinarian who will direct you to the right place and render first aid if necessary.
And you can always call Wires, and you know, they'll take a call and they'll say, oh, there's a nearest vet here, or okay, well, this is the best thing to do with it right now. And that really is good, just to have someone else on the line.
Okay, away we go. So you think this will do the job?
Yeah, I'll miss him. I've looked
Yes, you
after
will.
him for a
Yes,
long
you will.
time.
Looks like he's ready to go, doesn't he? You know? He must recognise things about this, perhaps the smell, salt air, that sort of thing, you know? You getting me a tongue? Stick it out again. Come on. That's it. That'll do. That'll do. Well, there he goes. And you know, you have two emotions going on here, don't you? Sadness in the fact that you've had to let him go. But happiness in the fact that you could let him go.
Yeah,
That you gave him another chance at life. You're doing a wonderful job, you really are.
Thank you.
And it's nice to see people of your age, young people, doing this, making an effort to conserve what we have in this country. A lot of people talk about it, but you do it. And that's so important, and so thank you.
Thank you.